Greetings and salutations, Charlton66 here once again with another video. And as always, I hope everyone is doing okay. A lot of stuff's been going on with the YouTube community, with the issues that are coming up with the FTC. I don't know what to think of it. I'm going different, I view different ways about it. Um, I'm just going to go keep doing what I'm doing. And after January 1st, I'll see what happens and make my decision then. Or what's the best course of action is going to be, and and probably follow suit with some of my. I've been talking to some other guys about this and what they're going to do with their channel, and we'll see what happens. The whole Copa thing, I don't know. Um, it's vague, and I'm sure it'll become people will challenge it, and I'm sure things will come up that will narrow it down what we can and cannot put on, depending on if it's kid friendly or not, that type of thing. So if it's suit for children, we'll see what happens with that. But anyway, um, things are going all right. I got a few stuff to talk about, all comic book stuff, obviously. Um, One of the things that I went to a small show last weekend. Only spent maybe less than an hour there. It was really weird. I love this show. It's one of the local cons, and of course, the local cons you can always narrow down your searches. It's not big and overwhelming where you're going to numerous dealers and try to figure out what you want to get. So, I it felt like it was overwhelming with people. The It was hard to get into some of the dealer booths to see what was going on. A lot of people were there, I think, was just to be at a con. I didn't see a lot of people buying things per se. It was just packed. So I only picked up 3 comic books. One of them, well, actually all three, I really like. Obviously, I wouldn't have picked them up, but one of them is near and dear to my heart, only because one of my favorite comics as a kid. I'm a Western guy, as well as sci-fi and a whole bunch of other stuff, but in horror and everything, different genres. Obviously, anyone who's watched my channel knows the various comics I go through. But one of my favorite comics as a kid growing up was Kid Colt 180. Um, this is an Esposito cover. It was redrawn from the original issue, which I was able to finally find. Well, anyway, this is 180. Nice, pretty decent copy. Combines Western with sci-fi. And it was the only time it happened with this title was sci-fi esque. I know Charlton's did it with Spurs Jackson and some other companies, kind of put the two genres together. But um, this is one comic that I really liked as a kid growing up, and I always thought it was cool. So I was able to actually find, well, not actually find. It's not like but I found a decent copy for the price. This was a reprint of Kid Colt 107, which was a Kirby and Ayers cover. This is it right here, um, which obviously you can tell there's a big difference between the two covers. I think there's a big difference. You have the juxtaposition of the two books. You can really tell it was redrawn. I think this is an Esposito redrawn cover from the original Kirby and Ayers awesome sci-fi Western cover of Kid Colt 107. So I was pretty happy to have this. I paid a little bit over guide for it. It's just the dealer paid a lot to get it himself. Apparently, cause I trust this dealer. We've talked to before, and I know, um, what he does to get to certain comics, and so I paid a little bit over guide for it, but I'm pretty happy with it. Again, 107. It's very cool to have in the collection. If you're a Western sci-fi person, this is a good book to have in your collection. Also picked up a nice copy of Johnny Mac Brown. Um, those who don't know, Johnny Mac Brown was a Western hero. He wasn't a singer like Gene Autry and Roy Rogers and a few others. He was just a straight up action star. But this is a nice copy of number 10. Great photo cover. And with the painted horses there. This is from September 1952. Johnny McBride number 10. And another, my last, one of the three books I picked up, but this was a good book. I'm a big fan of the Emmy Magazine Enterprises titles. Their Western stuff is really good. Straight Arrow and Best of the West. Tim Holt, of course, Ghost Rider, this stuff. But this book, it's an anthology, Great Western number 9. From 1954, has Powell artwork in this, and also some Dick Ayers artwork on the Ghost Rider story. On the cover, it says there's a Red Mask story in this right here, but there's no Red Mask story in this, unfortunately. But this is a great Frank Bull cover, nonetheless. Frank Bull drew the Red Mask, and does not appear in this title, but it's a nice copy. This is from April of 1954, so I was pretty happy to have this to add this to my collection. Like I said, those are the only books that I picked up at the little con I went to. It was just so crowded, and I don't know, I just felt overwhelmed. It was weird. It was real stuffy in there too. I don't know if Rag, if you went to it or not. I don't know if you felt the same way, but it was just a weird experience. Anyway, onward to a couple other things. One of the things that I get every month, and I recommend it to anyone who's a fan of comic books, comic book histories, Alter Ego. It's a bit pricey for people. I understand it's a $9.95 price tag, but what you get out of it is far greater than the $9.95 to me, anyway. But this issue of 160, I don't know if people have seen this issue or not. It's a Steve Ditko issue, which right after Jack Kirby, he's my favorite comic book artist. He did a lot of work for Charlton, obviously, and that is what I like collecting, Steve Ditko stuff. I like collecting all Steve Ditko, don't get me wrong, but his Charlton stuff is excellent. But in this, it has some interesting articles and stuff in here. Awesome illustrations from his Charlton times. From this magazine is Haunted. But what really just great stuff. Just chock full of Steve Ditko goodness. But what really is really cool about this issue is there's a older picture, well, more older of him, but recent for us, of Steve Ditko walking into his studio, I think a year before he died. Right here, there's his studio door, S. Ditko on it. And there's an older picture of Steve Ditko going into his studio. He wouldn't let anyone film in the studio, take any pictures. But that's our comic book legend, Steve Ditko, right there, which is pretty cool. And Bernie Bubness, who knows about comic fandom, Bernie Bubness is somebody who's been in fandom since almost the beginning. Went in there and was able to go into his studio. I know before he died, he was able to be contacted. I've talked about this before. It was funny, he wouldn't sign anything, but of course when the letters come back, the people would write to him, he would sign the letters. So you were getting something signed by Steve Ditko. But it's a great issue. It's number 160 for anybody who wants to get it. I highly recommend it. I recommend this magazine's publication anyway, but to have it, I think you can get it digitally for like a couple bucks. I don't think it's as much as a printed copy, but again, this is 160 of Alter Ego with the awesome Steve Ditko coverage, which is really super duper. A couple things from Amazon. One of the things that I missed out on was Superpowers Project from Dynamite. It's a it's one of those comic books that has all of these heroes and characters in a public domain, and they might have to change them slightly, the names, and like Daredevil is a death defying devil, I think, and this is what he's called. But I'll show you the book in a second. But it covers characters from like Fox, Eastern, Color, Centaur, Columbia. Um, I'm looking on my bookshelf because I know I got some of the hardbacks from it. Um, Spark Publications, Lee Gleason, all these companies and these characters that are in public domain that are so cool. And I missed out, like I said, on the comics when they came out. So I was able to find again on Amazon. It's relatively cheap. Volume one of the Superpowers Project. It's called Project Superpowers Omnibus Volume One. Um, this was $39.99, but Amazon had it for like $19, and you get over includes Project Superpowers 0 to 7. That's the first chapter, and the Wizard One Half, Never Before Collected. Superpowers Chapter 2, 0 to 12, and over 500 pages in this, and 40 pages of bonus material by Alex Ross. But this is, I can't do this justice like CP Reader. CP Reader pulls you into the books that he has. I don't have that grasp of the English language or the charisma CP Reader has to talk about stuff. But it's excellent artwork. It's written by Alex Ross, and one of the things that is really cool about this book is that he has sketches and drawings of the characters that that are in the books. There's the Black Terror, um, some of the covers, but it's just an excellent publication, comic book series. Um, but one of the things that I liked in this, like they have the Fighting Yanks War Journal in here. Anyone's a fan of the Fighting Yank, um, but in this has all of the characters and like set up from who they are, so you can look them up and find out where they appeared and where they came from. But it's just an excellent resource of the characters that are in this book. Of course, there's Pyro Man. Of course, one of my favorites. There's Yankin Doodle, which is very cool to see them. Very obscure characters. But one of my favorites is Skyman. Um, and here's the Hood. It's a favorite of mine. Right there. It's hard to get it in there with the way it's printed. But I know Silver Streak, Fighting Yank, Hydro, which was a Bill Everett drawn character from Regular Fellers. And it's got drawings and synopsis of the characters in this book. I'm really excited with this book. I have not sat down and read I'm doing it over the Thanksgiving break. I'm trying to find my guy Skyman. I know he's in here because I've seen. Of course, it's called him Big Blue in this, but it's a Blue Beetle, obviously. They couldn't use the same name, but they can use the concept of that character that fell into public domain. I don't see him in this, but anyway, you get the idea. But it's an awesome publication. Get on Amazon, pretty inexpensive, and you just get a lot of stuff in this book. I recommend this. I went through it. I've not, like I said, I've not read it, but the characters are very cool. It's great to see them in action. It's one of those characters, and these characters that are again in public domain you don't see that much of, and they're not relatively available for reprint purposes unless you've got Golden Age Myth of Mystery from Bill Black's American Comics. Is it Americomics? I can't remember the title of that, but it's Bill Black's Golden Age Myth of Mystery. He reprints, although it's in black and white, the those type of characters. Again, that's Project Superpowers Omnibus. It's called Dawn of Heroes. Such a great title. And another thing I got, I've not took off the shrink wrap off of it yet, um, but it's a Golden Age Simon and Kirby. I just got this in the mail. Pretty intensive. It's $150, but I got it for $112 off of Amazon. Let's see if I get it out of the shrink wrap. I should have did it before the video, but I wasn't thinking. I was just trying to get the video out, and I haven't done a video in a while. I know. I'm supposed to be on a live chat with Night Tiger and King of Comicdom and Silverhaired Bronze Age Babe, but I just couldn't make it to the live chat. So, see what this looks like inside. Oh, great! Took out the dust jacket. Awesome illustration of Cap and Bucky fighting some goons and some monsters. But it's got the Vision, Tuck Cave Boy, Captain America stories, of course. Just really outstanding stuff. Again, I can't give this justice like CP Reader would, but it's very very comprehensive. It looks like it's got a lot of pages to it. It's pretty thick. It's almost 900 pages. And some stuff from Joe Simon in the back. Some text. I don't know if it's an interview, but it's some nice original artwork reproduced here in this book. Again, this is called the Golden Age Simon and Kirby. Looks like an excellent book. I can't wait to jump into this. Put on an old time radio show, make a pot of coffee, and hang out with Joe Simon and Jack Kirby and their creations. So I think that's pretty cool. It's got this is featuring Captain America, the Vision, and the Fiery Mask. The Golden Age Simon and Kirby. Very, very cool. Another thing I picked up from Amazon. Big fan of this film, Alien, the making of. One of the greatest science fiction stories, horror, however you want to categorize it. But this is something I really wanted to have in my collection of books, which has a sketch of the face hugger on the cover of the proposed face hugger. But again, this is an awkward book to try and show. But inside there's illustrations of the Alien film, text talking about the movie, storyboards, the costumes and whatnot. Again, anyone who's seen a making of type of book, this has it. This is what you'd expect from any type of making of book. But again, it's from Alien. It's relatively inexpensive from Amazon, if I remember. Let's see what the $60, and I think I got it for $35. I think that's what I paid for it. I don't know if I showed this yet or not, but there it is. Making of Alien, the movie. Again, it just has the first film. Doesn't talk about any of the other films other than some of the text. But that's all I got for right now, guys. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. And please, if you watch the video, comment, discuss anything you want to discuss, and I look forward to the comments. And again, I want to say thank you for all the viewing and subscribing. I'm over 400 subscribers now, which is for me phenomenal. I've said before, I would have been happy with one subscriber, but now I've got that many, which makes everything pretty much like gravy, really, as far as what I think about the channel. I'm just happy that that many people want to hear what I have to say, and and comment, and engage what we're talking about here, and it's the love of comic books and the medium fandom. But anyway, everyone have a good Thanksgiving. Um, Hope everyone stays safe. Have a good holiday in your travels, and I'll talk to you guys later.